Back again with another pregame meal for game one of round two between the Oilers and Vegas Golden Knights. It's hard to believe that they've only met one time before in the postseason because it feels like these two teams still have an awful lot of animosity. That's left over from that 6-game series, so let's break it down as we tee it all up. Perhaps the highlight of the animosity in that previous series was Alex Pietrangelo's two-hand over-the-top slash of Leon Draisaitl's wrist. And then later in the same game, if memory serves, it was Darnell Nurse getting suspended for fighting Nick Hague deep in the hockey game. So you figure that there's going to be a highlight placed upon the discipline in this series, and if it's to be a special teams battle of sorts, well, Edmonton's actually got the advantage as far as how their power play performed in the opening round of these here playoffs. So I'm curious to see how this unfolds. I don't think that we're going to see a whole lot of carryover from a couple years ago right off the bat, but that's not to say that it won't pick up in a hurry. And if it does, well, the Oilers have a few more foot soldiers this time than they did last. I'll preface this by saying that we don't expect to see Mattias Ekholm in the series at all. He's dealing with an injury that is still unknown. My speculation is lower body, but who knows at this time of year, realistically. But who do they have performing right now? Well, the likes of Evander Kane and Trent Frederic, who picked up his first career postseason multi-point game in that series clinching win over Los Angeles. Frederic's been a big part of things when he's been on the ice, and that hasn't been a ton, but he's been out there and physical. So too has Evander Kane. Zach Hyman is actually leading the team with 43 hits so far in this postseason. And then you've got Vasily Podkolzin, who had over 200 in the regular season. So I think Edmonton can survive in a grittier style of game and maybe allow their superstars some extra room out there. That whole F around and find out mentality, well, we'll see how long it takes Evander Kane to remind the Golden Knights that there's a price to be paid if you are to take liberties against the Oilers superstars. Now, the regular season series between these two teams was split evenly, and it seems like they can't help but play a playoff style of hockey. Vegas playing maybe a bigger brand, leaning on you a little more heavily with some bigger bodies in their lineup, and particularly on the back end. They're a deep squad up front. They're even deeper on defense, and they have big characters back there. They could probably go 8 deep, realistically, instead of just the 6 that they are required to, of course, but they're all huge humans, and so they'll bust up that cycle in a hurry if you're not careful and going about it methodically. What we also know about the Golden Knights team is they're very effective offensively off the rush. So what can you do in the neutral zone to slow them down, or even at your own blue line for that matter, to make it murkier for them getting into the offensive set? Depth-wise for the Oilers, I've really enjoyed seeing the contributions from throughout the lineup. I think that it was prevalent in that series against Los Angeles, and knowing that you're going to have to go 4 lines deep against Vegas, I think it's a really positive sign that they demonstrated that they can. A big part of that, of course, is going to be whether or not you can play McDavid and Draisaitl apart from one another. They're always going to find spots within the game to play them together, but it's a matter of how much extra time can you spend with them apart, and making the Golden Knights have to flex their defensive muscle a little bit differently. They have one really good defensive line with Jack Eichel, William Karlsson, and Mark Stone on it. So if you get Draisaitl away from that matchup, you might be in good shape. And finally, goaltending-wise, I don't think we'll see them go away from Pickard in any immediate fashion. If he falters in the next couple of games, maybe Game 3 is where they call a pivot point once again. I think Stuart Skinner has likely had the mental reset that was evidently required after a couple of terrible games in the first round against LA. But Pickard's earned another start. It's not always pretty with him, but he gets the job done. So I am in favor of them riding the hot hand, so to say, and Pickard has been exactly that.